All right.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to our presentation on mixed method research in Edfn 5000, fall 2020. Today, we are going to look at mixed methods research and all of its details and what it is. And we've got some great presenters who are awesome researchers with us today. And they're going to hopefully give you some information to help you be a better researcher. We're going to start out though with having some fun, and we're going to play a little game and break the ice. So if you will get out your phones and go to kahoot.it, you see it on the screen there, and we're going to play a little Kahoot game. So I'm going to switch over here. Give me just a second here. And I'm going to give you a code that you're going to put into your cell phones. My apologies, we're not completely ready to play here, but we're almost, and you're learning how to play Kahoot while we go along. There we go. Okay. So put 788-7727 into your cell phones. I'm going to ask you for your nickname. Please put just your name. There you go. All right. Thanks. Okay. Woo! We're going to do the best of riddles 2020. So you're going to hit the corresponding, what you think is the corresponding answer to this question in your, woo, okay. In a dark room with a candle stove and a gas lamp, you have one match. What do you light first? Who got that right? Woohoo, Jocelyn! Next one, get ready. You answer me, although I never ask you questions. What am I? Okay. Ooh, Abby got that one. Your mother's brother's only brother-in-law is asleep on your couch. Who is it? All right, your father. Abby, Jocelyn, excellent. Some months have 31 days, some have 30. How many have 28? You have to all answer before we can move on. Oh, right. We have smart people. This is why we're going to be able to teach you about research. Smart people on the presentation with us. A plane crashes on the US-Canadian border. Where do you bury the survivors? Canada, US, family's choice, none of the above. Waiting for one. Okay. Now, who thought it was family's choice? All right. Yeah, there are no survivors on that plane crash.
Oh,
we don't bury survivors.
Survivors. Oh, how horrible.
You don't bury survivors. How can 2 and 2 make more than 4? One more. Yes, everybody got it. Put them right next to each other and make it, what? 22. All right. What would you add to the Roman numeral 4 to make 6? This one's a head scratcher. One more. Oh,
I
yes. See how smart you guys are? You
S.
add an S. I have 76 apples. You take 13 away. How many apples do you now have? All right. Somebody did some math there. I'm gonna put you all on the screen here. This is much more fun that way.
I just got the joke in 6. Yes.
Okay. Capital of Turkey is a strange word. How do you spell it? Yes, how do you spell it? All right. Look at these scores. Okay. Which country has a 4th of July? Oh, you guys are so smart. I'm going to go back to me here so we can read these. How many animals of each sex did Moses take on the ark? Come on, one more. Yeah, it was Noah and the ark.
Oh,
How many birthdays does the average man have? Yeah, just one. Hit the day he was born.
oh God.
All right, you got to read that yourselves. Okay, yeah, this is the one right here. We're just putting a 5 right in front of there. Excellent. Maria and Abby. Almost done, guys. How far can a dog run into the woods? Dogs don't run, huh? Halfway. Yes. Got to come back.
What?
Yes. In a dozen. There's 12. Woo! Let's check the podium. Woohoo! Jocelyn coming in at 3, Abby number 2, and big number 1, Maria. Woo-hoo!
It's a rock star. Heart.
Yay! All right. Thanks, guys, for playing. Yes, I'm going to leave that. Come back to our presentation. Thank you for breaking the ice with me. Give me just a second here while this loads up. And what I'd like to do now is introduce you to our incredible presenters. And with us today, we have Maria Avalar. This will load up on your screen in just a moment. Hang in there with me. We've got Maria, we've got Jocelyn Selter, and we've got Abby Sider. And then myself, Diane Collings-Ralph. We are all master's candidates at the at California State University, Los Angeles. And we are all in the process of doing heavy duty research in order to get that master's. So that's why we are able to tell you today what are the advantages of using mixed methods research. and what are its limitations. And what we're going to do, here's our agenda. We've already done our introduction here. I'm going to go over our goals in just a minute. And then Abby's going to explain exactly what mixed method research is, when we can use it, the types, and go over a real world example. And then Maria's going to take us through the analysis of the advantages and limitations, challenges, how to identify the mixed method research designs. And then Jocelyn's going to take us through our summary, and we'll wrap things up there. So let's get started with our objectives. After our presentation today, you should be able to explain why researchers would even want to use a mixed methods research design to address a specific research problem. You should be able to define and explain the major characteristics of, I'm just going to say MMR designs. You can define and explain the types of MMR and how and when to use them, the advantages and limitations, and you'd be able to identify MMR designs by terms, purpose, and data. So in order to get you to those objectives, we are going to start out with looking at what mixed methods research is. And to do that, Abby's going to get us started. Abby, take it away.
Thank you, Diane. So mixed methods research combines quantitative and qualitative approaches in a single study. So as a reminder, quantitative research uses numerical data to describe, explain, predict, or control a phenomenon of interest, whereas qualitative research uses narrative and visual data to gain deeper insight into a phenomenon of interest. So why use a mixed methods research approach? We would do it to build on the strength of both quantitative and qualitative methods, and in order to better understand a phenomenon that cannot be fully or deeply understood by using only qualitative or quantitative measures. So narrative or numerical alone does not give us the full picture that we need. So we continue to look at the 3 types of mixed methods research. This is a quick overview of the 3 types, then we'll look at them in detail. The first is explanatory sequential, second is exploratory sequential, and the third is convergent parallel. So let's first look at explanatory sequential. In this type of research design, qualitative data is collected first. Sorry, quantitative data is collected first. Quantitative data, therefore, is measured more heavily, and its results are analyzed first. Qualitative data is collected afterward to help explain the quantitative data results. So we're using an example of a research question for each of these 3 types to illustrate how we would approach it with each type of design. Let's take the question, what are college students' attitudes toward and use of birth control measures? So if we wanted to use an explanatory sequential design, we would first administer a quantitative survey to a simple random sample of college students, analyze the data, then conduct qualitative interviews with focus groups drawn from the first sample in order to explain patterns in the quantitative data. However, in the next type of research, mixed methods research design, exploratory, qualitative data is collected first. So through a series of observations and interviews, and then a hypothesis is developed in order to collect quantitative data that can then be used to support the qualitative data. So with our example research question about college students, in this case, we would begin with the qualitative interviews with a purposive or specifically selected focus group of students, analyze that data, and use it to design a quantitative survey for a separate randomly selected sample in order to obtain quantitative data that can be generalized to a larger population. So whereas in the explanatory sequential design that we just looked at, the focus group in the second step can be gathered from the random sample in the first step, the reverse is not true for exploratory sequential design, as you see here. The 2 steps in this type of design must involve different samples because of validity factors such as anonymity and prior influence. So if you've already interviewed people in depth about their views about birth control, there's not too much point in giving them a quantitative survey about it, especially if you're promising anonymity in that survey so people actually speak their minds and their truth. So in our last type of mixed method research design, convergent parallel, which is the most challenging to carry out, both quantitative and qualitative data are collected simultaneously. Both types of measures therefore hold the same value and are given the same attention. So in our research question that we're using, we would conduct both quantitative survey and qualitative interviews simultaneously with a random sample and purposive focus group respectively. In this instance, they can be the same sample or different because it's happening simultaneously. There is no prior influence that can be happening in this instance. Then merge the data sets together for analysis, regularly checking one against the other. So in other words, the differences among these three types of mixed methods research design fall into three categories. One, which type of data is given more weight, if any. Two, the sequence of data collection, meaning which type of data is collected first, if there is an order. And three, the analysis techniques. So whether the data is analyzed sequentially or simultaneously, and if sequentially, then which type is analyzed first. So our college student attitudes towards birth control question was a hypothetical research question, but we found a real world example of mixed methods research design, and it is very meta. It's titled The Value of Mixed Methods Research, a Mixed Methods Study. And this is a 2017 study examining graduate students' perceived value of the different kinds of research methods. So the researchers first administered a quantitative survey of a random sample of grad students. Then they conducted qualitative interviews with a focus group from that sample in order to find explanations for the survey results, which were that the grad students assigned considerably higher value to mixed method research design over solely quantitative or qualitative research methods. So in this instance, we have a mixed method study validating the use of mixed methods research. So kind of circular, but also extremely interesting for our purposes.
Thank you, Abby. What a great article. An article that actually validates the use of mixed methods research. Thank you. All right, and now Maria is going to take us into further analysis and look at the advantages of mixed methods research and then the disadvantages. Maria,
Thank you,
welcome.
Diane. Thank you. Thank you. We will look at the advantages first of using MMR, mixed methods research. We'll go over just a few. The first one is validation. Using mixed methods research allows the validation of data by comparing different types of data, which will give you ultimately a more solid foundation for understanding your study. Second, we have survey instruments. Using mixed method research will allow the implementation of new and useful survey instruments, which is always a plus for your research study. The third one is flexibility. Because we are using quantitative and qualitative methods, it provides flexibility, and it lets researchers obtain more information from different perspectives. And the first one is the last one, sorry, is in-depth understanding of your research study. So researchers can collect information from different viewpoints rather than strictly sticking to either quantitative or qualitative research methods. Those are just a few advantages. We also have some challenges, though, of running this type of research study. The first one would be analyzing results. because we are focusing on quantitative and qualitative data, the researcher must have expertise and have a lot of experience in analyzing quantitative and qualitative data to find a common intersection and results, which can also be more time consuming. And another challenge is research proposals. So for explanatory sequential and exploratory sequential designs, two proposals must be submitted given that you are using quantitative and qualitative methods. So this can possibly take more time, which can delay your research study. So those are just a couple of challenges of running mixed method research designs.
Thank you, Maria. And now we're going to go into how you can identify mixed methods research designs. And Jocelyn, welcome.
Thanks. All right. So at this point, you've heard the words qualitative and quantitative probably at least 20 some odd times if you're keeping track at home. However, let's go ahead and talk about how the mixed method research designs, and I dare you to say it 5 times fast, I bet you can be identified. So first things first, we're going to go ahead and look at the terms. Anyone who's written a research paper, which is probably most of us at this point, knows that the use of specified terms is going to be the most helpful in identifying what type of research and then having the reader be more able easily to understand what it is that you're writing about. So specifically within mixed method research designs, we're looking for those words again, quantitative and qualitative. Add that, let's see, 21 for each. And then mixed methods as well, sometimes just straight up saying it. Convergent parallel, explanatory, exploratory, which Abby was so gracious in telling us about earlier. And then of course, words that convey the same meaning with the idea of simultaneous, sequential, anything that'll tell you about the order in which the research happens. Another way of identifying mixed method research designs is your purpose statement, or what is sometimes also the research question. So this again directly indicates that the mixed method design was used, or it's recognized that the question can only be answered using qualitative and quantitative methods. You got to get used to those keywords right over there, I'm telling you. And then, of course, another way is via the data itself. So the researcher within their writing can directly state that mixed method designs were used, or it's evident by the analysis of the data results. And remember again, when you got that qualitative and quantitative, it's using both numerical and narrative information in there. So now that you've tried saying everything so quickly, and that you have heard the words qualitative and quantitative and it's leaking out of your ears, let's take a review of everything that we've learned thus far today, shall we? So remember again, your mixed method research involves everyone's favorite qualitative and quantitative methods for the study. So, and remember, one begets the other. Researchers can quantify data and then study that data through a qualitative lens. And what Abby was telling us earlier as well is that you can't always necessarily just flip-flop them, but you can still use them in their aspects to bring them together. And like any research method, there are advantages and challenges, but the advantages of using the mixed methods is the flexibility within the researching, is using methodologies to validate your data that you might not have otherwise have thought to use, the emergence of new survey instrumentation. That's awesome for all of us. But for real, it's actually really helpful. And having a more in-depth understanding of it. So not just quantitative or qualitative, but understanding it from both aspects that play on each other. But, challenges of implementing mixed methods. You have to, analyze your results. I know you did all that research, but you still got to analyze it. And with that, of course, the expertise that comes in analyzing it, making sure things are accurate, and oversight on projects. So having those two different proposals for both qualitative and quantitative, and it just taking the time to go through the bureaucratic process. But now you understand what it is to use mixed methods research, and we'll go from there.
Thank you. Thank you, Jocelyn. I'm going to pull us all back here on video. Thank you so much, Abby, Maria, Jocelyn, for joining us today, explaining this rather complicated idea of mixing methods to conduct more in-depth research. So now I'd just like to summarize. I'll move you guys over here and just let those of you that are watching, first of all, thank you for watching our presentation today. We appreciate it. And we want you to know that you can access our slides and video right here. This is a Google Drive link. Our slides are there in PowerPoint and PDF format. And the video of this presentation itself will also be there. We're also going to load that up on YouTube, and you can access the actual recording of our presentation there as well. We want to give a shout out to the technology tools that we use today. We used Google Slides, Slides Go, which gave us our wonderful template, and Kahoot to break the ice. We also had icons by Flat Icon, pictures by FreePic, and illustrations by Stories. So lots of fun technology and incredible presenters. So thank you so much for being here with us today. And we hope that this will help you, as it's going to help us be better researchers.